Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog, welcome back to the car, welcome back to Cornwall, welcome back to autumn, welcome back to grey skies, brown leaves, and it's just been raining. Literally, as I started to do the intro, the sun has come out, but the car, you may notice, is wet. Now this isn't the vlog that I wanted to record. I wanted to record a vlog last Sunday, but I woke up with something of a headache. Well, sort of a headache. One of those things where you have an ache in the back of your neck and it sort of goes up into your head and it just kind of sits around there all day. So I took some paracetamol and I was like, you know what? If it clears up, I'll go out and record a vlog. And it did not. It really didn't. So I was just like, oh, this is a bit of a problem. So instead of trying to get into the car and record something and just generally not feeling good, I thought, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. There have been times when I have recorded vlogs and I've just straight up not used them. The longest vlog that I've recorded that I've not used was over 3 hours long because I set the cameras up in the car. As I have done once before, I have recorded a very long vlog before, and that was a Christmas Eve vlog. So we started off at like 5 in the morning, something like that, and it was dark and it was fine. I had the vanity light on and I drove for something like 3 hours with this. I hadn't noticed, but there was like a little loop of hair on the side of my head, which I didn't notice until the edit, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. You guys can just listen to it as a podcast, whatever, I don't care. But then I did that again. I recorded another one in the summer, but there was a slight problem with the summer one. You see, in the summer there's a lot more traffic down here, and I ended up getting caught in it. It was a lot of standing traffic. At one point, somebody decided to park a BMW inside a Volvo, so everything was snarled up for miles and miles and miles. And then we eventually got up to some police. There was some bollards and stuff, and yeah, somebody had literally, their engine block was in the boot, was in the trunk of this Volvo, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's unfortunate for everyone involved, especially everyone who happens to be trying to drive home with the car in one piece. So yeah, that was an interesting one, but I ended up talking about random things. I think I ended up talking about poo for something like an hour, and then by the time I got to the edit, I was like, I can't put this on the internet. There's no way. It was scientific, but it was still something that I didn't want on the internet, so I ended up just mugging the whole lot off. I think something like 15 or 16 vlogs have been recorded and just been straight deleted afterwards, either because things moved on and they weren't relevant anymore, or because I had something better to say, or because I just wasn't feeling it. So rather than putting something out that I just didn't think you guys would like, I just deleted it, just got rid of it. There's content, and then there's just wasting people's time, and I don't want to really do that. But wait, you said you had a headache. Yes, and you said it lasted all day. It did. And you know the cause for it. I do. Is it anything alarming? Should we be concerned? Well, thank you for asking. No, but it is related to an injury, or more accurately, it's related to the reason I have tinnitus. Is there a story? There is a story. Oh, you are very good. Very good. Can't get anything past you guys. Yes, so as I've said many times before, I used to ride a motorbike. In fact, I've had several motorbikes. Started off on Mum's Honda Rebel when I was in college, the 125, and then I got a CX500, and that was, and then I got a CX650. The CX500 and the CX650 are both Hondas, and they are very, very lovely vehicles. Mostly because they're a V-twin, transverse V-twin with a counter-rotating clutch and a drive shaft The drive shaft is the one thing that if I buy another bike, it has to have a drive shaft. I can't have a bike without a drive shaft, because if you don't have one of those, you spend forever adjusting the chain, tightening the chain, you get chain lag, chain slap. It's actually a pain in the butt having a chain on a motorbike. So the drive shaft is something that I've been spoiled, because 2 of my bikes have had them. And the last motorbike I had, the Kawasaki ER6F, which was the 2009 model that looked like a baby Ninja. It was basically the Ninja 650 without the race tuning. I've loved all my bikes, but the Hondas were definitely the ones that I really enjoyed. Some people say the motorbikes are dangerous. At least my sister said motorbike. I've got a few sisters. The younger of the first 2 of my sisters was always concerned that I would accidentally kill myself on a motorbike. I don't think motorbikes are inherently more dangerous than cars. I'll get back to why I've got a headache in a bit. I don't think motorbikes are more inherently dangerous than cars as a vehicle. If you have an accident, sure, you're going to get squashed. If you fall off, sure, you're going to get chopped up by a tree. I mean, it's just one of those things. You wear body armor. I wore a spine protector, and I wore shoulder pads, like shoulder guards and elbow pads and everything. And I wore Cordura. I never wore leather, but I liked wearing Cordura and Gore-Tex, and like a nice pair of boots and gauntlets and everything. But still, if you come off, you're going to slide into something or hit something, and it's going to hurt. Dad was always concerned about me not being on a motorbike. His concerns may have been for my safety, but also one of the times he did say, "Oh, well, you know, what if he, not to me, to one of my sisters, what if he meets a young lady? He won't be able to drive her home," or any other 1950s things that you do with a young lady in a car. Go to make out point, I guess. Oh, as an aside, I was reading Reddit last night, I think, and there was Ask Reddit, and there was a lady, and she was like, "Hey, I think she's from Los Angeles, and in her friend group she has this British guy friend, and she's like, I've dropped him plenty of hints, but he doesn't seem to be taking any of the hints. Do I have to tell him that I like him?" Here's a PSA, just related to what Dad was saying about driving people around. Here's a PSA. It doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, or whatever in between. If you like someone, never drop a hint. Never drop a hint. Because nobody else in the world knows how to decode your hints. We don't get the decoder rings in a box of Kellogg's cornflakes. It's just something that doesn't happen. If you like someone, use your big person words and tell them with your mouth. And I think in paragraphs she was saying, "Oh, but if I tell them, it's scary." And the answer is, yeah, it is scary. It's always scary. It's always going to be scary. What if they say no? What if they say yes? Well, if they say no, nothing happens and you carry on with your life. If they say yes, then maybe everything changes. So that's just an aside, on an aside. So yeah, Dad was trying to get me off of motorbikes for a long time. Mum, on the other hand, she was the one that got me into motorbikes. She was the one that was responsible for me being on a motorbike, because that Honda Rebel 125 was hers. And when I was going to college, one of the most depressing things on the planet, one of the 100% most depressing things that you can ever do, is ride a bus to college. Especially the little hopper buses that I used to ride. The little hopper buses would take a 20-minute journey and turn it into a 45-minute snooze fest. Yes, sure, the buses were hot and they were warm and you didn't really need to do anything focusing on your journey. You got on at one end and then got off at the other end where the college was, or more accurately, the bus station, because they never really stopped anywhere near the college. So you would be in for another, I don't know, 25 minutes, half an hour walk. But yeah, they were depressing. And you always get like people getting on the bus Any wool coats that have gone wet usually smell like wet dog, so people kind of smell a bit funky. Anyone who's got a cold, you know, everyone else on the bus is going to get that cold. So I just wasn't having a good time when I was going to college, and my mum said, hey, I've passed my bike test. I want to get rid of this thing, but if you want to learn how to ride, I'll hold on to it for a bit. So yeah, I rode Mum's motorbike around for a bit. The thing about motorbikes, I mean, I just carried on after that. The CX500 was something that I rode for many years until I kind of upgraded to the CX650. It was a 78 motorbike and then an 84 motorbike. They had a choke, and they had carburetors. Carburetors on a motorbike and a choke, a manual choke. There is something about sort of pulling the choke out and then having to hold it in place with a clothes peg. But yeah, I love that old technology is the best. Like, old technology is super reliable. If it doesn't start, you might have flooded it. Give it 20 minutes, have a cup of tea and start over. So yeah, no, I love those things. But the reason I have a headache is the riding position. So if you do, I don't know, you can try this. If you've never ridden a motorbike before, you might not know. What you can do is you can get down onto all fours. So put your knees on the ground, put your hands on the ground. So you're in, what's that dogging position that yoga people do? It is dogging, right? No, downward dog. The downward dog position. Is that downward dog? Basically what you do is you get on your hands and knees and then lift your head back until you're looking straight forward like a dog. But you really need to like pull your head quite far back and hold that position for about 2 hours in a headwind. A 70 mile an hour headwind, or maybe 100 and something mile an hour if you're actually literally riding into a headwind. It's that position. It's that tilting your head back continuously for hours and hours and hours that causes like a pain in the neck. And when I was first riding, it didn't happen. There wasn't any issues. I just got on. You might get cold, especially if it's the winter, or you might get wet, especially if it's raining. It seems like a non sequitur. It seems like something that doesn't follow. Surely you had rain gear. Well, yes, I had rain gear. I had lots of rain gear over the years. But rain gear on a motorbike has basically a mean time before failure. If you get expensive rain gear, it's gonna leak at some point. It just means, like, the more expensive it is, the longer you're gonna be between it actually leaking into your pants. And you would always feel just this little hot sting, cold sting, I guess, of liquid as it sort of soaked into your underwear. Wait, why your underwear? Why is underwear the first point that fails in when you're riding a motorbike in the rain? That's an excellent question, because your chest is in the wind, so all the rain is hitting you and going down into your lap. It's also coming off a fuel tank going into your lap. All water ends up in your lap, so you end up with a duck pond of water in your lap. If your waterproofs are going to fail at any point, it's going to be in your lap. Your pants are getting wet and there's nothing you can do about it. Just welcome to riding a bike, I guess. But yeah, no, that keeping your head up for so many hours. I did notice that on the longer rides, especially going to visit Dad, where I'd be riding along the motorway, the main problem with that is that in the last few years of riding, it did feel like someone had jammed a piece of metal into my vertebrae and was trying to just lever my vertebrae apart. It was unpleasant, highly unpleasant. We're just going to go slow here, because, ooh, that level crossing though. Yeah, I think there's that riding position over years and years and years. And the bikes that I had are all sports tourers. So it was never like fully leaning over the tank. I was leaning over the tank, but I was never fully leaning over the tank. And I was never sitting upright in a cruiser position with like the monkey hanger bars, because sitting upright, you end up just taking a face full of wind. Your whole body acts like an air brake. It's not good. You haven't really sold riding motorbikes. No, I haven't, I guess. And the tinnitus? Oh yeah, that's related. So long rides, you'd get home and you'd just hear like a detuned radio, I guess, like a transistor radio. That would just be in your ears all night, maybe into the morning. And these days it's just like a very high-pitched frequency just in sort of the right-hand side of your head. The treatment for tinnitus is just ignore it, which is fine. But yeah, the fun sides of a motorbike? Oh yeah, no, there are loads of fun sides of having a motorbike. Cutting through traffic, for example. You don't need to sit around in traffic. You can just go for it. So the quickest I can get to my sister's in Bristol is 3 hours. Now we need to take this junction, but we might get a little snarled up, left, right, clear. We're good. Everyone's good. No, that was easier than I thought it might be on a Friday. Yeah, so the quickest I can get there. 1 year I left, I was leaving to go and visit Dad, which is a little bit beyond Bristol. And I was living at home. I was living with Mum at the time, so I hadn't quite left home. I was the last of the children to leave home, and the oldest of my siblings. But I just happened to work nearby, and it was more convenient to stay at Mum's. So yeah, I jumped on the bike, and there was traffic from basically near where Mum lived, about 100 yards away, or maybe 50 meters away from where Mum lived, all the way to where Dad lived. It's just bumper to bumper, stopped traffic. I have never seen anything since, but it was literally bumper to bumper, stopped traffic, and I just went past all of it. When I got onto the dual carriageway, I was going between cars, just down like, it was like doing the Star Wars trench run for hours. Star Wars trench run. There were only a few times when things got a little dicey. So I had my motorbike, I had panniers on the back with all my stuff in it. It was the middle of summer, it was fine. You can't stop on a motorbike in summer because you overheat, you're wearing a lot of armor, so you need the cooling wind. You can't just stop. Sometimes people, especially in Audis, I don't know why, but they would pull out to try and pinch you off, to try and stop you going past them. I mean, you're stopped on motorway, mate. There's nothing you can do. So I went past a few of those. I may or may not have clipped their wing mirrors with my handlebars. At least nothing that I'd like to admit. But yeah, going past everything. The smells as well. You can smell the countryside and nature and food if there's like restaurants and things. The smell. You don't really get that in a car because all the air is filtered in here, certainly. But definitely up near Bodmin, you go past. There's a big factory there that makes bacon for sandwiches, so you just get this bacon smell. It's lovely. And the sense of speed. You don't need to be going very fast on a motorbike to feel like you're going fast. And there's nothing in the world like getting your knee down. Whoa, the sea is up today. Those are some big I would not want to be in the ocean today. Yeah, there's nothing like getting your knee down into a corner. Wonderful. And just the sense of acceleration where you just dump the clutch and go. And the noise. I do like to bring the noise on a motorbike. Yeah, I love motorbikes. Absolutely love motorbikes. There is no feeling or sensation similar to it in a car. You just don't get that sort of sense of G-force. You don't get that feeling that you're suddenly alive. You don't feel like you're a part of the machine. I mean, this car is good, but when you're steering with your hips, there's something different. Motorbikes just hit differently. Yeah, they're more dangerous, and I didn't ever like taking anyone on the back. It just ruined the geometry of the bike. Yeah, you can put people on it, but no. I did like going fast. Probably one of the reasons I had to get rid of it. because one day I was going to come unstuck and end up going through a hedge. And these hedges around here, it's a little bit of grass, a little bit of bramble, and a whole lot of granite in the middle. So yeah, anyway, that's why last weekend I did not record a video, because my neck was hurting. And my neck was hurting, and it was leading to a headache because, yeah, years of riding a motorbike. If I could go back in time and stop myself doing it, would I? Hell no. I'd do it again. In fact, I'd do it again if I could afford a motorbike, but I just can't afford one and having the car at the same time. So yeah, good. Well, I'm glad I'm glad I got to explain all of that. Glad you got to see Cornwall in the winter. It's stopped raining for a little bit, but it'll be raining again. It's bloody windy out as well, and the sea is kicking up something fierce. Thank you everyone for joining me. If you like these videos, definitely leave a little like, leave a subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, if you want notifications, ding the bingle. If you don't want notifications, don't click the bell. Thank you everyone for using, who has used the coffee link. That does go to running the channel, because believe it or not, things ain't free in YouTube land. And I'll tell you what. I just want to get past that car so I could look at you. I'll catch you next time. Oh, it's raining again now. Oh, here we go.